again. Devers hammers this one to right. Judge looks at it, and the bat's flipped.
You know, we have everything we need. We got to push through here and there, and confident we will.
The last time that we spoke, the Yankees were on pace for 121 wins. Now they are obviously not on pace for 121 wins. That was a nightmare road trip, man. How are you feeling about it?
I feel pretty crummy about it. I mean, this is like, to me, okay, I get disappointed when the Yankees play poorly, right? As do most of us. I get pissed off when they play like they're uninterested. It's a difference between, being pissed off and disappointed. I'm a combination of both of them right now. And because so many of the guys are playing like they don't want to play. And it's just, and one of the things that Paul O'Neill said a while back, and it stuck with me, is when they were so good, there were only a handful of guys that were kind of streaking at once. The first half of the season, they were healthy. The whole team was hot. Now you have 2/3 of the team cold. Right? And they haven't, I don't think they've established an identity to figure out how to overcome this to a degree. What's your take on that?
So it seems to me like it's been a combination of a few different factors that have led to this kind of downward spiral. One, you mentioned the disinterested play. I think it's more they took their foot off the gas a little bit. They came out with something to prove in the first half, and they played really well. And now they've had a couple of injuries, and things haven't gone so well. And they're saying, well, we've still got a 10-game lead. And it just doesn't seem like they're busting it as hard. They're not taking as advantage of things on the bases like they did early in the season, at least not as often. The defense hasn't been as sharp, but also the combination of injuries, just changes the complexion of the lineup. Having Stanton out and having Rizzo out as much as he's been out, I mean, that just really makes it so you don't have to pitch to Judge. And Judge has really been carrying the team most of the season.
Yeah, and now losing Carpenter, that's an extra blow. He was basically, we found this diamond who was playing fantastic. We lost him. So, we basically have a third of the lineup that's not there. And do they have the depth to overcome it? Well, they clearly do not. So, and that's where I think, some shakeups might need to happen. But you're right, too, because when they were the first half of the season, they were healthy. They knew how to feed off each other, right?
Right.
Now they haven't figured out how to do that.
I want to go through and talk about player by player and just kind of, go through the issues with this team and see where we land. Let me get your thoughts on Aaron Hicks right now. We got Bader coming back hopefully pretty soon. Are we seeing the last of Aaron Hicks as the Yankees center fielder?
I think if Bader comes in and he plays well, then yes. Because Bader still has another year. And I think they're going to try to move Hicks aggressively this offseason. So I appreciate him trying to do some things, but I still see a lot of unfocus in the outfield when he's playing defense. He looks like his arm is back, but that's not enough. In all honesty, we need Hicks to be the Hicks, of yesteryear when he gave us the reason to give him the 7-year extension. We haven't seen that Aaron Hicks since then, and I think that hurts.
Yeah, I mean, when I watch him hit, he's just got so much movement at the plate comparative to other players. And I know I'm not a professional hitting coach, and I don't understand all the nuances behind how he's built his swing, the way he's built his swing. But it just seems to me like if your head is moving that much and your body's moving that much, it's got to be hard to make consistent contact. And what I'm seeing is a lot of pop-ups and dropping that back shoulder and just trying to launch everything when really I don't think that should be his game.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we haven't known him as a Judge-esque or Stanton-esque home run hitter, and he's trying to hit home runs. It looks like way too much. And we could say the same there are a couple other players on the team who I think exemplify that same type of wasted movement thing rather than having a more compact swing. And that's also a Dylan Lawson thing. He's got to figure out a way to tighten up his swing and mechanically make it work for Hicks and some other guys. So I would agree, less wasted movement, because what winds up happening, he winds up being late on pitches or he misses a lot of pitches. And he's definitely not hitting the off-speed stuff. He's just nailed on the off-speed stuff. So, and the wasted movement's hurting him.
Yeah, typically as a pitcher, if you see a guy with a big leg kick and a big stride, you want to throw them change-ups. You want to get them conscious of the fastball and then get them out on that front foot, because then all their power is gone. And you see, he's got no power this year. Speaking of no power, we got to talk about IKF. He obviously slayed the monster the other night. I actually think IKF is doing an okay job. He's done exactly what the Yankees have asked him to do.
Yeah.
Right. He's not been a power guy, but we never expected him to be a power guy. And it sounds like Twitter and, all the Yankees forums are all, well, where's the power? It's like, we didn't sign him for that. We signed him to catch the ball until Oswald Peraza or Anthony Volpe is ready. And I got a feeling that's in a few days.
I have a feeling so the 18th there's a deadline, right? A soft deadline for calling up guys. And it's tied to service time manipulation, right? They call them up after the 18th, then they get an extra year of service time. They call them up before, they don't. So that's got to be factoring into their calculus. But as it comes to IKF, to me, you're right, too. I think he's been doing exactly what they traded him for. And again, we don't wait. I didn't expect 19-year-old Alex Rodriguez, okay?
Right.
I expected IKF, who's been kind of getting the job done, small ball. Look at the bunt he did the other day to compliment that home run.
Love that.
I mean, that's like the perfect suit. That was Chuck Knobloch type bunt to the opposite field, and he beat the throw. Didn't even have a throw because he ran so fast. So that's the type of play I expect from him. And what he does, he keeps his head down, right? He just gets the job done. And I don't understand why so many people are 1 foot off the ledge when it comes to IKF. Replace him, trade him, blah blah blah. Like if I'm going to call up one of these young kids. There are other guys on the roster that they could replace, like a Marwin Gonzalez, who the Yankees aren't even playing, okay? Or to a different degree, Oswaldo Cabrera can play the outfield, so they can sit Hicks if they don't, before Bader. They can do other things without interrupting IKF's play. So I don't think he's the problem. I never thought he was the problem in the team anyway, but so many folks are, I don't know why. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I think he's doing fine.
What are your thoughts on Josh Donaldson so far this season? Because he came to the Yankees and he was already kind of a question mark because of the age. Numbers have been kind of up and down. When he plays a full season, he tends to hit for a lot of power. We know he's a good defensive player. I think he's having a good year defensively, but offensively, he looks kind of, what's the word? Washed up. He looks washed up to me.
Yeah, and just looking overmatched way too many times. And he's actually admitting it, which is surprising. But to me, that other intangible, which I haven't seen in a while, the dickhead Josh Donaldson, the guy with the attitude, right? Who I think could help spur a different type of identity on this team. Who I asked who is our Darryl Strawberry this year? I can't tell. Who's going to stand up for their teammate? I don't know. To me, that's a problem. And I was hoping he was going to be somewhat of a mold of the Strawberry, but I don't see it. And there's so many other different ways where I think he can contribute to the team. Obviously, he's doing it defensively, but not with the bat. But areas like that where light a fire under some of his teammates' behinds, getting Gleyber Torres' face when he's not playing focus. Those areas, I think he could be helpful, and I just don't see it happening. So I hope he picks it up with his bat. I really do, because he's still here for another $25 million next year. So
speaking of Gleyber Torres, last night when I found out that he was mic'd up during the inning, I said, "Oh, come on. I want his focus on the game 100%. I'm not going to say that he should have made the plays that he didn't make during that inning, but it wasn't a good look to be mic'd up and then come up a couple inches short, maybe react a little bit slow on a hard one hopper and then not be able to pick a throw from the outfield." What are your thoughts on Gleyber Torres this year?
So, to me, I like to compare him to ITF. He's got a higher ceiling, obviously offensively talented, but I don't see him tapping into a lot of his tools. And that to me is nothing more frustrating to me than a talented player is not tapping into his talent, right? And it's the similar problem as an Aaron Hicks, trying to hit the home run and getting overmatched by off-speed pitches way too often. And you said it, and I said it, go for the single and go for the double. Level out his swing. He'd be on base a heck of a lot more. He wouldn't be batting 240 right now. He'd be contributing to the offense a little bit more. And this all boils into the lineup construction too, because I don't think he's a number 3 or number 4 hitter either.
No.
And that goes back to so many guys being hurt. I think he's a better number 6 guy, something like that. So I think it was a bad idea to have him mic'd up too. It was smart, but I think he can contribute more. I don't see it right now, and I hope it happens.
At the deadline, the Yankees reportedly were faced with a dilemma. Should we trade Gleyber Torres for Pablo Lopez of the Marlins? They said no. I think I personally would have made that move in a heartbeat and then just called up somebody from the minor leagues. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, they had an opportunity to trade him for Castillo 2 years ago, 1-1. They said no. This is the second time they've had a chance to move him with guys that could replace him at AAA who are ready, and to get that second starter right behind Frankie Montez. And one of the biggest complaints that folks have now is that they didn't get that second starter. They had a chance to probably solidify this. Now I'm hearing other things that the Marlins, kind of sabotaged it at 557, but we don't really know. But if they could have moved him, if he was the piece that prevented the Yankees from getting him, then I think it's a mistake by the Yankees. Okay.
I agree.
I would put Peraza or Oswaldo Cabrera there right now in his place. I would much rather them replace him than IKF. And I think more athleticism, more hustle would be better. And combining them with IKF, you'd get both of them at the same thing, in the same pie. So I would have moved them.
So Andrew Benintendi, the overall numbers are not great since coming to the Yankees. Let me pull it up. I think he's hitting about 200 or less. He is batting 196. He is 10 for 51. But still, that's better. That's like 40 points better than the guy he replaced, Joey Gallo. Right. What are your thoughts on Andrew Benintendi? I think he's only going to get better. And again, 10 walks already. And he's got 5 doubles. What are your thoughts on Andrew Benintendi so far?
I agree. I think, and he's also playing pretty good defense too.
Oh yeah,
has some hell of a defensive play. So I like him. I think he's going to get better too. Anytime, and I said this the other day, going from New York to somewhere else is not the same as going from somewhere else to New York. The transition period is different. The adjustment period is different. Clearly, that was with Joey Gallo. And I think Andrew Benintendi is having a little bit of an adjustment too. And again, he's doing a lot of the little things. I think he'll have his moment too. And I would like to see him and Bader in the lineup together with Judge or right field or whatnot. I think it'll give him a heck of a lot more versatility, potential chaos on the base paths, and the doubles thing too. That's one reason I fell in love with Miguel Andujar, because he was a doubles hitting machine, right?
Yeah.
2018, like 1,000 doubles. So I think it's his skill set. He was the number 1 prospect in baseball in 2017, right? People forget that. So he's got the talent, and I think finding his way in the Yankee team in the Yankee lineup is taking a little bit of time, but I do think he'll be fine as well. So I'm happy we have him. So
yeah, I agree. I think he was a good pickup. You just mentioned Miguel Andujar. So far, he is 15 for 60. That is 250, 2 doubles, no home runs. He had one of the Yankees' 2 hits last night. What are your thoughts on Andujar so far? To me, it looks like if you can throw him something that's moving downward, if it's a sinker, a changeup, a slider, anything other than a fastball, he seems to swing over the top of it. He's almost got like a golf swing right now, but he's just going right over those balls or pounding them into the dirt. What are your thoughts on Andujar?
I would agree with that, but I think one of the things, more consistent play for him would kind of help him figure out his offensive mechanics a little bit. It's hard to play a guy once a week, right? Or once every 5 weeks, and to find your groove, because this isn't the Fred Mucci League in Staten Island. This is Major League Baseball.
Right.
You're facing Justin Verlander, and if you don't play every day, it's going to be really hard to hit this guy. Or Corbin Burns. So I think regular play for him. I mean, they called him up, use him, right? And right now, with so many guys around, I would play him consistently with the hopes that his offensive mechanics will kind of catch up, and he'd be doing a little bit less of these sloppy swings, because he does make good wood with the ball. He clearly does in AAA. He can do it here. He's done it here. But when he plays consistently is when he starts to hit his best. So I think that's probably the equalizer right now for Andujar. I like his skill set, but he needs consistent play.
So let's talk about the pitching. We were all singing the praises of Matt Blake earlier this year, and I think he got a lot of these guys off on the right foot. We were getting a lot of innings out of the starting rotation, a lot of guys throwing better changeups, better cutters. Strikeout numbers were up, walk numbers were down. However, the true test of a pitching coach and a pitching strategy is how you can correct things when they go wrong. Yeah. And right now, getting Clay Holmes right is the most paramount thing that the Yankees have to deal with on the pitching staff. This guy was unhittable for 3 months, and right now he can't throw a strike. And as a closer or a high leverage reliever, you have to be able to throw strikes, full stop. So I guess just give me your thoughts on the bullpen and how you would set things up right now.
Well, let's see. Let's just go through these guys. Holmes, I would probably experiment with what they did with Chapman. Get him back to low leverage situations and don't move him up until he proves he can handle that situation. Incrementally back. And then Chapman seems to have worked well. I would kind of use a similar formula because also considering he was a middle relief pitcher for the Pirates last year. He was thrown to be in the Yankees closer this year. That's a hell of a transition too.
That's a great point.
So, and it's a different zoo. So, and I'm not surprised he's struggling, right? We're seeing the old Clay Holmes again, but he still has a 2.2 ERA. He's still doing his thing. And I think that's one of the things that they need to do that I think would help him kind of right the ship, right? And using other guys like Lucas Licky needs to stay in low leverage situations. He pitches better there, right? Marinaccio I would have up here right now.
Absolutely.
I would replace Albert Abreu with him. So he needs to be a piece in the bullpen. Also, Clark Schmidt needs to be up here. I know they're stretching him out to be the starter, but I've said this earlier too. I think having 2 or 3 good, solid middle relief guys helps bridge the gap between starters and these one-inning guys.
Yeah.
And this is something that the Yankees haven't had in a while, but we lost Mike King, so that's a devastating blow. But when Severino comes back, I would put him in the middle relief role as well.
Just a quick point on Mike King. What made Mike King special to me and how he racked up a lot of that WAR that he has is that he would come in like the 5th inning in a tie game or a game where the Yankees were leading by 1 or down by 1. And he would give you 2 2/3. He would give you 8 or 9 outs. He'd give you 1 trip through the order. The Yankees don't really have anybody who can do that right now.
That's right.
Lucas Licky can do it in a low leverage situation, like you said. And they're trying, I think, to get Albert Abreu to do it, but I don't think he's that guy. I think Marinaccio might actually have a chance to be that guy because he's got so much movement on the ball. I don't know if he's stretched out to do that. Maybe that's something they're working on, in AAA. I haven't looked at his numbers to see if he's pitching multiple innings, but they need somebody who can give them a couple of innings out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and that's why I'm wondering whether they're going to do it with Clark Schmidt or not, because he's thrown 3 good innings several times, right?
Yeah.
Or whether they're going to transition him into the rotation because of guys like Nestor Cortes, who's 20% over his season limit already in terms of innings pitched. So they're threading a fine line there with Cortes, right? And Tyne was solid, but we just don't know. So I don't know what they're going to do with Clay Holmes. But and one reason I like Luis Severino in that role too, I would like him and Clay Holmes, at least 2 guys in that role, right? It's because he's also, I don't know if you noticed it too, but to me, he's like the emotional firecracker of the team. He's so animated and whatnot. I don't see other guys in the rotation that are like that. Okay.
Right.
Eric Cole, but like I said before, what I asked before, who's our Dallas Strawberry? Well, who's our CC Sabathia and our Roger Clemens? Right. I want somebody to be established. Like, you see this 60 feet, 6 inches? This is my territory, not yours. I own this. And guess what? You get too close to the plate, I'm putting one towards your head. And I know you're not going to charge me. I want somebody to have that attitude here. Right.
What are your thoughts on Domingo Germán so far? I thought he's looked pretty good the last couple times out.
Good, and I would consider him as part of a long relief corps too. If they don't put him in the rotation, if they don't swap him out with a Nestor Cortes, I know that'd be an unpopular thing. Cortes is still pitching well, but he can be a valuable piece too. It's like him, Marinaccio. I think Efros is probably putting himself in a closer by committee role. I think we're seeing Trevino up and down. We're seeing one day Yankee Trevino, one day Oakland A's Trevino. So we haven't figured him out yet. But those guys, and Wandy's been quietly reliable too. So, and he can handle high leverage situations better than Licky can, right? So, and I think having two relievers, him and Chapman, in those areas, but we need at least two of these guys, two lefties in the bullpen. So the combination of those guys would be good, but Herman could also be a valuable piece here too. So, but at the end of the day, it might be Abreu, the odd man out, and they still have other guys. Rich Rodriguez, they brought in some guys they haven't even used yet. So I'm wondering whether these guys are going to be considered as part of the equation too, to see, okay, can this guy contribute in the playoffs? I think they're still trying to figure that one out too, because losing King kind of hurt the team's versatility, and they have to figure out what the hell to do with Sevy, what to do with Herman, and they're still trying to figure that out. And that's a Matt Blake thing too. So he's got to right the ship too. We need him to write it.
So I want to get to the final topic here, which is Frankie Montas. We got to talk about the trade package first of all, because, JP Sears pitching well with Oakland. Obviously Ken Waldichuk, a big left-handed prospect that could have given you some depth. Montas has been okay. We also traded Jordan Montgomery at the last second for Bader. I understand that they needed to upgrade the center field position, and you got to do what you got to do. I'm missing him, but it is what it is. But I'm not sure it was the best idea to get rid of all your left-handed starting pitching depth. What are your thoughts on that? And on Frankie Montas?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I thought we were going to give up a more offensively centered package for Montez. I was surprised it was pretty much all pitching. I really was.
Right.
I didn't expect Sears and Waldichuk to go. I didn't. Waldichuk, to me, I already had him pegged in the 2023 rotation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So that's no longer. Now, Montez, he was much better his second start than his first start. I'll give him that. But I still think he needs to figure out his way, too. But if he gives us, 5 or 6 innings or 6 innings of 2-run or 3-run ball and keeps him in a game, I'd be happy with that. He's got a good repertoire. He's got good sliders, got good split finger. He's got a good fastball. So I think they need to figure out how to utilize his repertoire against whoever he's pitching against. So I'm happy with that trade. I just it's a gut punch as to who they gave up for him, because I liked Sears too. Sears was that other long relief guy that I was clamoring for, right? We had him, but we gave him up. So they got to figure out what to do there, replace Sears, because he to me is a valuable piece too. It was like almost a left-handed Michael King to a degree.
Sears this season is 3-0 with a 2.30 ERA in 27 innings, and he's got a 0.80 WHIP. I mean, this guy is a legitimate good pitcher. Mm-hmm. It surprised me that the Yankees would unload good young lefties. It's kind of like Yankee Stadium is built for left-handed hitters, right? Yeah. But it's also, by definition, built for left-handed pitchers, because there's more right-handed batters. They're going to hit off of lefties, more fly balls theoretically to left field and center field. Yep. So it's always been a good idea for the Yankees to have a couple of lefties in the rotation. Sabathia, Pettit, throughout the years, lefties have done well. Whitey Ford, Guidry. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like Cashman is very quick to disregard the history of the team's success, like how we've won in the past. I get we still have some decent pitching. We still have Nestor Cortez, a lefty, but something just doesn't sit well with me about giving up all the lefties.
I'm just waiting for Waldichuk to go 18-6 with the A's. Yeah. I'm waiting for it. It's going to happen, right? So I'm waiting for that one. I really liked Waldichuk. That one was a tough one. But I agree. The pitching, the ingredients something's missing, right? And they have to figure that out. And what frustrates me is, like you brought up Chapman. I mean, Cashman, Boone doesn't already give great post-game press conferences, right? Post-game interviews, whatever. But I don't like the fact that he has to answer questions on behalf of Cashman, who, when he does answer questions, gives these cryptic type of answers and whatnot. And then he has to answer questions for Hal. I don't even know if the guy's alive, right?
Right.
I would like for him to show interest in his team. But going back to Cashman too, I wonder what his thought process was. And I understand the debater for Montgomery thing too. Off the right off the top, it doesn't look great right now because Montgomery started well with the Cardinals, and good for him, right? So I hope Bader turns out, and I hope he pans out well. So, and I'm glad he's here for another year too. But again, we lost a lot of our pitching depth, and I know they weren't as highly regarded as the Prazes and the Volpes of the world. I get it, but that's what we had. Right?
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody to like. They gave up also Wisniewski,
Right.
Free Frost. So I don't who's I don't know. I can't think of anybody.
Yeah.
Luis Medina's gone too.
Yeah. They got rid of all their top level pitching depth. And it was shocking. I figured that they would try and move Joey Gallo or someone else of that ilk for a AAA pitcher, an innings eater, somebody like that. Instead, we got some younger guys.
I mean, I like Clayton Beater. I hope he pans out, but we'll see what happens.
It is what it is. It is what it is, my friend. You said something just a minute ago that it made me realize something. You said you'd like Hal to show some interest in the team. And it never occurred to me that he doesn't have interest in the team. I mean, it's his business. It's his life. But it just occurred to me, I've never seen a yes camera shot of him in the owner's booth watching the game intently. Have you?
Nope, not one. And very rarely do we see Cashman now. Before, when he was up there leaning into the box, right? And Steinbrenner, George was always there. So I don't remember. I don't even know. Is he at Old Timers Day? I have no idea.
Jason, hopefully it gets better. It's been an interesting summer. We talked at the beginning of the year. We talked after the Yankees were about 49-16, and now it's the dog days of summer. I'm sure we'll talk again before the playoffs, hopefully under better circumstances. Appreciate it, my man.
I'm not throwing out the white flag just yet. I have faith in the crew, but they got to show us something. We need something here, baby.